morning, I'm Carly and welcome back to Farmer Analytics. Today we're opening up the greenhouse, we're checking out all our plants, but most importantly, we are harvesting garlic. Let's go check it out. So on our way over to the garlic beds, I'll show you our hedgerow. And this hedgerow is primarily used for pollinators. So we have lots of different flowers, different fruit trees, and you can see our garlic way at the end here, right alongside the high tunnel. We have a pear tree here and a couple of apple trees. And we want to encourage the pollinators to hang out around our greenhouse because they're really good for our pest control. And a lot of pollinators do a really great job of getting rid of pests in your greenhouse. So here are our garlic beds. They are very ready to be pulled out of the ground at this point. We planted them last fall here in Vermont. We plant about 3 weeks after our first frost date. This helps make sure that the garlic has time to establish their roots before settling into a deep freeze. We plant them, we cover them with a hay mulch and make sure that they stay insulated over the winter. So it's time to pull them out. We want to look for at least 3 dead leaves on the bottom. So we know that we're ready to harvest our garlic when these lower leaves turn brown. And when they turn brown and start to die off, we know that they're ready. Now, we could have pulled these a little bit earlier here because we're starting to notice that the top leaves are also starting to turn brown. But we've had a couple of really torrential downpours over the past week, so we were waiting, and the soil's pretty dry. We want to make sure the soil's dry so that when we pull these out, we don't have too much mud caked to them, and that way we can ensure that we have a decent curing, because we are going to take all these garlic out today and hang them to dry and cure. These are absolutely gorgeous. And they're nice and dry. Like I said, we made sure that the soil was really dried out before we pulled these guys out. So you can easily just remove most of that soil off of the bulb. And then we know that we can cure those pretty well without any rotting or really needing to remove much dirt later on. The other nice thing about dry dirt is that these guys pull out of the soil pretty easily. I'm not really giving this much effort. Here's a great example of one that actually does tell us that we left these in a little bit too long. Now you can see that the cloves are actually starting to split right here, and we don't want this for long-term storage. This is not going to last, so we can still use this. We're just going to use this as soon as possible and not put this one into long-term storage. We'll use this one right away. Okay, so that's our garlic harvest for this year. I'm pretty happy with the size of the bulbs. We do have a lot of little ones, but that usually happens for us too. But we've got some really good sized garlic in here. Okay, so drying garlic doesn't have to be pretty. We are inside of our woodshed, and what we do every year is this is basically cleaned out at this point, and we have just installed these 2x2 sections here. So this is pretty simple setup. We have two 2x2s. One is screwed into the wall, and the other one we've left a space here. We've added a spacer essentially on both sides to keep this apart and kind of leave us a good lane here that we can drop the garlic stems in. So you'll see I'm going to hang these upside down, and you want this space to be pretty good airflow. We have basically two sides to this that are open, which is why we use it as a woodshed as well, because it has really good airflow and things dry out really nicely in here. We also have a resident robin who makes a home in here every single year. There's no babies in there right now, so we are going to utilize these as some garlic hangers. And you can see if we run out of space, we've actually set up a couple along the top of this woodshed as well. So we have plenty of space to hang our garlic. Not only do you want good airflow in here, but you also want it to be out of the sun. So this area never sees the sun. It stays pretty dark in here, and that's perfect for curing garlic. Check out this garlic. It's teeny tiny, and look what we forgot to do. We forgot to take the scape off. And this is what happens when you let this scape grow up from the middle here. It essentially becomes a flower bulb. So we forgot this guy, probably why it put a lot of energy into the top bulb here and not the bottom bulb. Everything is hung and ready to spend the next couple weeks drying out. And again, we love this space for its multi-purpose uses. We also hang our onions in here to cure, so those will be ready just after the garlic, and the timing works out perfectly. We have all our garlic hung for this year's harvest, and we're so excited. This will come down in a couple weeks. We'll clean up those bulbs and put them in long-term storage. Anything that looks a little broken or split, those will be eaten right away, and the rest we will either eat over the winter, or we can save them for ourselves to use as seed garlic next year. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.